Hey, family. Welcome back to the part two of the podcast with Kendra Turner. Let's go ahead and get right back into it. Thanks for tuning in again. What, talking about the teaching, going back to your teaching again, what feedback have you received from students and fellow educators about using AI in the classroom? And have there been any surprising reactions or success stories or, anything you'd like to share?
Well, 4 years ago, I was in a different district. I'm in a different one now. So when I started doing everything in AI 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, just my little colleagues around me were like, "Oh, that's great. Oh, that's amazing, right?" Um, and then I would wait and see some people's, their reaction when I say this is AI generated. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "It's AI generated," and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And again, just putting it in my regular lesson plans. The kids were amazing. Now, so that I've left the district that I did leave, introduced the teachers, the principal introduced the teachers to Khan Academy has one called Khan Mingo,
Okay.
and they're pushing lesson plans and everything. So now I know the principal's been using AI, but now they're really trying to push it for teachers to use. There's another teacher that kind of use it too. Google has one. Well, it's a program that you use through Google, and it'll generate lesson plans. Um, I just sat down one-on-one with the teacher and taught them last year. I've just been really just pushing it through voice.
Yeah.
This year at my new district, I've trained a new model.
Okay.
It's a new district, new requirements, and they're kind of still traditional with a
Hmm.
lot of technology resources. And honestly, I'm like, well, why aren't y'all, utilizing it to its fullest and
Yeah.
making teachers work harder? Well, I'm about working smarter, not harder. So I just went in and created me a GPT
Yeah.
around the whole framework for the whole district in my school. And I'm like, my lesson plans are done. And I'm just waiting. And I've offered in a voice to a young guy on my campus. I was like, dude, you can do this in AI. He's like, for real? And he's got to be in his 20s. And I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah, you can. So I don't know what's going on with the whole, maybe this technology divide still with a certain generation. He's like 24, 25, maybe 28. No, he's like 28.
Well, you would kind of think he would know that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, maybe you're just not comfortable with technology. And then, my principal's just now getting into like a QR code for scanning, attendance. And I'm sitting there I'm just looking in a maze because they want me to be in a certain place and I can't be in a certain place
Yeah.
because it takes time. And I said, it's the one thing that I find valuable is time because you don't get it back.
Right.
Time is non-existent, right?
Yeah. There
And
you go.
in the human form, they try to take it. So I try to show them you're not.
That part.
That part right there. So, you know, when they figure it out and they might come to me, I'll be available to offer my ideas. But right now, you know what battles to choose, and you have to get to decide, even if it's going to be a battle. You just know when to have the conversation and when just to stay quiet.
That part.
Yeah,
When to speak up and when to be quiet, right?
exactly.
Yeah, because I know some people they will gravitate towards opinions, and then other times they're like, "I'm good. I appreciate it, but I'm good." Yeah,
Yeah,
and you gotta know when to speak up and when to just dial back a little bit. Um,
right.
but to actually just and I know you're doing a little bit of it already, but um, have you ever thought about starting your own like training for teachers?
I have my whole vision right now is to just finish uploading the courses that I've created with the units for the right now. I'm just working on the science, then I'm going to work on social studies because those are my areas of specialty.
Yeah.
Um, and then I
My
want
two
to
favorite my two favorites growing up.
really,
Yeah.
and then I want to do my because I started working on what I call balance, was the mental health course based off the book that I had written, but did not publish this book because I figured that an online course would be better. So I want to do that next. The training component probably will come in afterwards. And honestly, I would love somebody to offer me to come in and do a workshop.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely want to do some workshops where I'm in person or online. So to answer your question, yes. And I want to see how that goes and go from there. I would love to train people and share with them what I know and see how they use it, and go from there. When you're a team of one,
Yeah,
it's a lot, right?
I know.
Right. But it all comes into play. It all will
Yeah.
come into play. It just takes a little bit of it, a little bit more time. It will come to play. And I'm in that mentality now where I realize that I wish I could have done all this younger, but there are no regrets to where I am now.
True.
You
True.
know, it's going to happen. It's happening. I'm manifesting it, and I'm just taking my time with, I shouldn't say taking time, because I don't like to use time. That's just me. But I'm taking the moment as it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally going with the flow, but going with the flow with action and trust and letting go of the outcome.
There you go. Yeah. And being intentional about everything that you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know you spoke about, sometimes we say, I wish we could have done this when we were younger, but like for myself, um, I wasn't the same person that I am now.
Right.
I mean, I probably would have done maybe a couple of episodes and then be like, all right, that's a lot, I'm done. You know?
Right.
But now that I'm older and I have a different mindset about doing things intentionally and being and living a purpose driven life. It took a minute for me to mature to get to where I am right now. So things are different for me. So same for you, going back, thinking about all the things that you've been through, it wasn't really the best timing. So, I know you don't
Right.
want to use timing, but it wasn't the right moment.
Right.
What I mean?
Right.
And everything happens for a reason. So now things are aligning and now you are where you need to be.
Right.
That's how I look at it. Um, that's good. That's good. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about mental wellness and affirmations. So you emphasize the importance of mental wellness and balance in both education and life. How do you incorporate affirmations and motivational insights into your work with your students and educators?
Well, one thing that's very easy to do is that every Monday I require them to write a goal. They have to learn to write a goal. And I say it doesn't have to be academic focused. It can be you want to get to the next video game level,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of students are realizing that they can write a goal and it doesn't have to be academically focused because they're so programmed, to when you come to school and you want to write a goal, it's got to be around grades.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, the goal is all about you.
Right. Right.
It's all about you because I know we've all been kids. You're going to grow up and you're going to have these dreams. You have these dreams and these ideas, and it doesn't need to center around academics because a lot of these kids think they're going to be the best student in the world still. And you know what? It's going to be shattered. It might work out, but it's going to be a wake up call for a lot of them. And I look at that future thinking of it will be okay if they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I want them to write their goals weekly. And then at the end of the week, they actually reflect on their goals. Did they achieve it? Tell me why or why not. I make them explain it. And that's it. They just write it to me. It's like a personal time, the journal. And then I'll build them up into that. One thing that I start with at the beginning of the year is it's a flight concept. Most kids haven't been on a plane still, so I have to explain that to them. So, well, have you been to the airport? Yeah. Well, what do you do with your baggage? You check it, right? And then I go through the concept of, I go through the meaning that baggage is everything that doesn't make you feel good, that you bring to school in the classroom. I said, but guess what? I want you to check your baggage at the door. This is flight, whatever, the room number. I said, check your baggage at the door, right?
Yeah.
And I said, now you get to fly. You don't have to worry about all that extra stuff. And I said, that stuff weighs you down where you're not thinking about school and what you can do. I said, but at the end of class, if you want to pick it up, you can. That's up to you if you want to carry it off. So I start with those concepts first. And honestly, the affirmations come. I'm 53. I tell the kids at the beginning of the year, I said, I don't have 6th grade friends. We have nothing in common.
Right.
I said, but I believe in you. I know you learn differently. I was a different learner. That's how I'm real with the kids right there.
Yeah. You're their
With,
guide. Yeah.
yeah, with the appropriateness, right?
Or their pilot.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell them every day, we say, hey, I say, hey, Pry. And then they say, hey, what? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that gets them built into like a little cheering thing. I'll say, hey, Pry, hey, what? Get their attention. And then they go on from there. But at the door, every day at the door, I greet them and I say, what mood are you in?
Mm-hmm.
I don't say, how are you? I say,
Right.
what mood are you in? And then they tell me. And then when they tell me that they're depressed, I'll stop everybody else. I'll say, wait a moment, come to the side. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then I have kids say, I'm happy, I'm excited. Yeah. Why? Because I'm here. It's Friday. I'm like, you're right. So my affirmations come in different forms.
Yeah.
Writing their goals, giving them positive praise, shout out like that. And then teaching them how to do that with each other and be respectful. My whole school district's going through a program called Capturing Kids' Heart.
Okay.
So I tell people, I said, I've already captured their hearts every day anyway. I am doing this social work, right? But you never can have too much of capturing a kid's heart and
True.
doing what's real for the kid.
True. Yeah, because you never know what they have going on at home.
Yeah,
Never
you
know what they
never
have.
know. You
And
never know.
and
And
then no, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and technology just comes in with how do you engage the kid with that question? Writing a goal. And again, there's the AI. Look at the picture. It doesn't have to be always unit based. It could be something related to the weekend, the holiday, and then yeah, that's just it. So traditional with the new right there.
That's good. That's good. So I love that you ask them what's your mood instead of how are you doing, because how are you doing is such a loaded question.
Right.
And at the same time, you hear people say it so often that in all honesty, they really don't care how you're doing. It's just
Right.
passing by. Oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. Because if you actually get that one person that stop and say, well, my dog died, and you're like, oh, I mean, I didn't really mean how you doing, But yeah,
Right.
no, to ask the kids, what's your mood today? That's very important because it calls them to look inside themselves and actually identify their mood and their emotion, And I'm
Yeah.
big on getting in touch with your emotions and being emotionally intelligent, and knowing, what those emotions are, how they make you feel, and how they could possibly make you act,
Right.
because people don't take notice of that. You have grown toddlers running around in the world. You know what I mean? That they're not emotionally intelligent or they're not in control of their emotions and they just act out. So
Right.
I think that is an amazing thing, that you're teaching them at a young age to identify what's going on with them. And then you're giving them a little bit of counseling. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's that social worker in you. So, you're literally trying to find out. You say you're depressed. Okay, why? What's going on? Let's talk about that for a second. And pulling them aside, making them feel special, like this woman actually cares about me. You know what
Right.
I mean? And that means a lot to a child because, again, you never know what they have going on at home. They could have just got into it with their mom earlier or whatever. It could be a toxic environment that they're in, and they
Oh
get
yeah.
to school, and it's like, oh, Miss Turner actually cares about me, and so I'm excited, and that gets them excited to come to school. They're excited to come to school to see you. They're excited to come to your class and and get all their cool AI technology assignments and do all of that. So that's great. I love that. Um, and another thing, you said, I was gonna touch on. Oh man, what was it? You said something else. It was so good. So the emotions, getting them in touch with their emotions is amazing. Checking their temperature, because that's important. And like I say, you're teaching them from a very young age to do that, and they'll carry that on with them for the rest of their life.
They will.
Believe it or not, because I know I have some instances where third grade teachers I still remember till this day. You know what I
Mm.
mean? for little things that they did for me or taught me certain things. It's like, oh yeah, I still remember that. I remember this tutor I had, Miss Kaufman. When I was younger, I just really wasn't into reading like that. And with my grandmother being an educator, she was like, oh no, you gonna read. So one of her coworkers would stay after school with me, and we would, read books, and she would take her time with me, and she wasn't, mean. She was very loving, very nurturing. I would never forget her. Never forget her.
Awesome.
So you are making a lasting impression on these kids, and that social work is coming in handy. You still using that every day.
I know it's rough though. It's rough. I'm not gonna lie. It's rough. It's rough
Yeah.
being in education nowadays. It's really rough. I think having that social work degree is advantageous for me compared to people who don't have it. Because I know that if a kid pops off and flies off, I don't react. Some
Right.
teachers do react, but I don't react. But yeah, it's hard. And don't let us start talking about pay now, because I can go forever about that. But yeah, it's a hard job. It's a hard job.
But it's important for children to understand that they have a voice,
Yes.
because if you think about it, even when I was growing up, it was a child would stay in their place. You don't talk when adults are talking, or you say excuse me and all that type of stuff. But
Right.
children get looked over a lot. So to get the opportunity to express themselves, it's like, oh yeah, I can express myself. I can tell her this. I can use my voice. And even with your teaching with AI. They're utilizing their voice and their brain together to get their thoughts out. It's a whole process that's taking place, that they're building on, that you're helping them with. It's time. So that's great. What about I know we talked about some of your teachers, but what are some of the struggles that some of your coworkers have been having, with introducing the AI? And I know we were talking about mental health and affirmations, but are some of your other coworkers doing the same things as you're doing in a roundabout way, or are they just like,
yeah, again,
opposite end of the spectrum?
Yeah, but with the district I'm currently in, and it's a big district, it's a great district too. You like at my campus, I don't know about the other campus, but I know my campus is not using it. If the teachers are using it, they're probably using it to generate emails. They might be using it to generate lesson plans, but they're not being vocal about it. They're not being vocal. They're still, I'm going to tell you the truth. We have positions where people are the media attendants and they make all the copies, right? I was really just surprised to see that was still a position, because I'm coming from another district, whereas, like I said, we're not doing the paper printing. I mean, It's very few, very little. Right. So this district is very controlling about how many copies you make, but you have access to make copies. And these teachers are printing off stuff, and I'm like, but the kids aren't that's not hands-on to me. We're not worksheet based. And I know math is important, but math is even transformed. AI has even transformed math.
Yeah.
So it's getting the teachers to just figuring out how we're going to have the conversation, utilize it, because the conversations are not happening around AI in the classroom. The conversations are around this. I'm gonna be honest with you, the stuff that I don't like, the data. Data and the scores, and I'm thinking
the numbers. The
numbers. That doesn't. I can see where it's important, but it's not important to me, because these kids are going to grow up. They're going to do different things, and that data is not going to have anything to say about it.
Nope, not at all.
Especially with this generation and where AI is going. The data. I mean, we talk about college education. I know it's important, but we've also talked about the data on the research showing how many people are not going to college and going on another track. So it's like the 4-day work week, which now should be the 3-day work week. We're trying to use old models for the workforce and for education, and that has to change.
Yeah.
We cannot stay we can't stay down here. A lot of educators that may see this, or anybody might see this, will probably get mad at me when I say this, or I agree, but I don't care. we're trying to close a gap of our learning amongst our kids nationally with other nations that's been going on for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
The gap is not going to close.
It's going to keep getting further and further away. Yeah.
It's going to keep getting further and further away because of the disparities around our socioeconomic status, teacher shortage. I mean, just everything you can think of. For instance, in my state, Governor Abbott, in the last 4 or 5 years, has not released the money for education because he wants his voucher system. So he's playing that political game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas you have TEA who's taking over Houston and they're paying their salaries, teachers, experienced teachers like me, close to like $90,000.
That's good. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. And the district that I like them a lot, but the district that I left could not pay me enough. So I had to move to another district.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I felt
especially with all the knowledge that you have and the experience.
I was like, yeah, if this is how you value me, I need to go where I need to know where my worth is. And right now, the district that I'm in, they're going to be able to recognize it later on, hopefully. But I don't know about me being in education. My mom did it for over 50 years. I don't see myself doing it for over 50 years.
I hear you. I hear you. Oh, man.
I really think my calling is training and utilizing and developing and writing and all that stuff and trying to do
I
good
could see
with
that.
it.
I could see that. That's why I asked a question earlier about you training teachers or assisting them with AI curriculum and things like that, or the general public. I could see that for you. I honestly can.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears and let's talk about your books, because you're an author. So how did you get started writing, and where did that passion come from?
Like you, I had that reading teacher. Mine was a first grade teacher named Miss Hendricks. And she introduced reading, a love of reading to me through poetry. Even if it was roses are red, violets are blue, It started with her. And then, most kids who enjoy writing, we journal. We start writing. We start sharing a little bit. But my poetry was a little different. Like most kids, I don't know. But you have that, I call it the anger poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And my stuff was really, I was angry, or it was the love, but I was angry and I would write anger, a lot of stuff. And then I grew out of that. There was a spiritual time that came, Christians, and I was doing the spiritual book. Let me do my first poetry book of spirituality. And I made them paper and I was like, oh, everybody's so happy. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to just do that. I do other things. I have a sense of cultural poetry because my Angelou was just like one of my favorites growing up. There's a book called Black Voices. Like there's a volume 1 of them, if you heard of that. But I used to read that book, and then it had little things like W.E. Du Bois, Langston Hughes in it, and I was just captivated with those kinds of authors growing up.
Yeah,
Nikki Giovanni,
yes, I've got a couple of her books. Yeah,
people, right?
Yeah.
That our kids really should still be exposed to this day and hear the audio versions with the reading. But that's where my love came in, is for writing and express. That's how I expressed myself. And then learning to control that voice. And Def Jam, when Def Jam came, I was like, oh, it was like great. But at the time, there wasn't the poetry slams for me. It was, you might read a poem and everybody likes it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then comes Georgia. And here I am, late 38, moving to Georgia. And Georgia has this whole community of people who are in the literary arts. And I'm thinking, this is just amazing. But I still didn't know how to get off into that. There was a Decatur book festival. I started my first book. I want to make sure I go back. So I got serious writing my first book when I went through the life aha moment and the breakdown. And I said, I need to just tell my story, and I'm going to put it all out there. And I'm going to put it all out there as a healing moment for me. But maybe people are curious, too, of why a woman would do this. And so I'm going to put everything out there, details about the sex and everything, because if you're curious, I'm not ashamed. I'm going to put it out there.
There you go.
Yeah. And I did. And it was a healing process. And it was 4 years later until I did the follow-up on that. But that's what I needed to do at the moment. The poetry, it kind of kind of ceased. It came off in like in blog moments, right? And I never really shared it in the community. With Georgia, I shared a thing one time because I was trying to figure out, how does this work over here? Everybody kind of like had a name or something if they were really big in Georgia, right?
Yeah. No, that's
So,
true.
yeah. So I never found my community there. I just like, wasn't time for me. Just go on, right? Live life. But in my own personal time, I started saying, I'm still going to write, but I want to write a book, the next book. I want to write a book that's important to healing people with the mental health. I said, I don't know what that looks like. I don't want it to be poetry. I want it to be uplifting, and I don't want it to be a process of like 40 days you have to do this, and then this days, that doesn't work. So I just waited and let the universe let it give into me, and I called it 38 seconds. That's the actual name of the book now, 38 seconds, because I did some research about the suicides, and every 38 seconds somebody was killing themselves. I'm like, y'all know what 38 seconds looks like, sounds like? So I started just forming the book around the quadrants, and I said, what are the 4 quadrants that are important to how we think? It's the spiritual side, it's the physical side of self, I should say, and what we look like sometimes, or what we go through physically. It's the I said spiritual, it's the mental side, it's how we're thinking. And honestly, there's one other side, I think, is self, because I haven't looked at it in a while. But I started going back with, what's the one thing that made you happy as a kid? What's the one thing that made you happy when you pretended as a kid?
That's
because
good.
when we pretend, we have a tendency to pretend what we really want to be and do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we forget that as adults, of course. We said that we forget how to play and forget how to pretend, and we lose those childhood dreams. I said, but you go back and you think about that. And then ask yourself, what happened to our thinking? So it's not that you need to stop thinking. You need to be aware of how you're thinking, right?
Right.
So 38 seconds says, I did it for 40 days, but each day has 7 verses. My concept is you start wherever you want to start. There's no finishing point.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
It's a training point of you being able to sit whenever you're ready to reflect on your thoughts. You choose any verse in the book that you want on any day, and you choose when you're going to reflect on it. You're going to also create an affirmation, but then you're going to create a proclamation, because it's good to proclaim something that you say you're going to do for yourself.
Definitely. You got to say it. Yeah.
You got to say it. And then I just want you to put I want you to draw. I want you to doodle, because I'm not asking you to be an artist. I just want you to just put something down, whatever it can be, just put it down. But again, it's a process of you not having a process, because we know processes change over time. And time, to me, doesn't exist. So it's going to be going on and on and on and on and on.
Forever evolving.
Exactly. Ever evolving. And it's to just get you to be aware of your thoughts. Because, and then it goes into before each day, there's like a little story that I tell from my childhood of something that I went through, comically or seriously. I talk about my first assassination attempt when I was 5. Little boy shot a BB through the window of my bedroom, right?
Yeah,
So it's that kind of imagination, right? And it's my parents watching them Westerns, the beginning of Westerns, and I'm coming down thinking I'm a Western girl. And I had the boots with the big, thick rubber soles.
Yeah.
But I have my belt tilted, and I have this straw hat on, and I think I'm John Wayne coming down. So it takes you back to just remembering the memories that actually made you happy. And you probably didn't have happy moments, but you're going to think on why you're thinking the way you're thinking now, and help get your thinking stronger in a positive way. So that's where I'm going with that. And I actually finished the book. I didn't publish it. I took it and I said, okay, now I want to create a course. And that's where that is. It is called Balance.
So you already created the course?
I created the course, but you know what? The course is right there. It's just right there. Because I was
gonna say now you can utilize AI to assist you in creating your course, and then you can tweak it. But I
Yeah,
mean, you got it already. Hey,
yeah,
let's
I
get it
did.
rolling. Yeah.
I have it. And then I took a sidestep and I said, let me do and I'm a big Power fan of the TV show Power. I'm a big Power fan. And they came out with something called Course Correct. That's what it was called on the show.
Yeah.
And I said, ooh, I want Class Correct, where I can create class management tools. And so I went that route. And now I'm here with the AI and the Go. And that's where I am now.
That's good. That's
my
good.
goal is to finish everything by the end of December. That's my goal. But like I said, I'm just going to let time just be what it is.
That's good. And we going into the last quarter of the year. I have at the beginning of the year, my wife and I got together and we got these 3-month calendars.
Okay.
And we she had heard something. It was a professional CEO, somebody, and he was like how he plans his things. He said most of us, not your average people, but people who are in the corporate world or they go by quarters.
Yes.
They plan by quarters. He said, plan your year by quarters. He said, don't start off the beginning of the year with just making these New Year's resolutions and then you got
Right.
365 days to try to get it done. No, be intentional, plan by quarters, and that's what we started doing. So we got these calendars. I start out January, February, March. Got done March, April, May, and now I'm getting ready to do it for October, November, December. So with me doing that, I have to say, with me starting that off and doing it this year, I have accomplished so much
Nice.
for
That's
myself
good.
in my personal life. So I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
That part. So we're being intentional and starting this podcast and doing all of that. So the doing that has really helped me get things together and fall in line.
Nice.
And then you talked about proclamations and affirmations. I'm big on that. I'm big on
Yes.
that. We growing up in my church, we had an affirmation book, and it was my job to read an affirmation every Sunday out of the book, and I would have the congregation repeat after me. I wish I could find that book, but it's long gone somewhere. But so I'm a firm believer in affirmations and speaking to yourself and speaking life into yourself, because, like you said, we're forever evolving. Now, whether we evolving negatively or positively is on us.
That's right.
We're all forever evolving. It's just either one way or the other way.
That's right.
You're either gonna get better or get worse.
That's
But
right.
it's up to the individual to make that decision and be intentional.
That's right.
That's been my two favorite words this year has been being intentional and consistent. So walking that line and
Yeah.
say what you mean what you say. If you think it, speak it, do it.
Yeah.
Wait. So that's why, I told you earlier, that's why I'm getting ready to get started on my book, and I got my outline and everything that I'm working on, so I can go ahead and get that going.
That's right.
Right. So,
that's right.
But yeah, that's good. So what are a couple of your favorite affirmations that you utilize personally? If you don't mind sharing.
I'm gonna be honest with you about something. I'm not, and God and I have to have a talk.
Mm-hmm.
He's given me the gift to write, before AI. So he's given me the gift to write, but I don't have that gift to remember anything I've written. It takes me a while to practice to just recite something. And I'm not quite sure why he's done that yet. But I'll say this. I have a favorite scripture, and it's Hebrews 11:1.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones. And I've followed that faithfully.
Say it for the people.
Yeah. Looking up, but faith is the substance of things we hope for, the evidence of things we not seeing. So let me go back and just explain when I actually accepted Christ into my life at 18. I had the foundation before, but when I actually accepted him as my own, I always wanted to just say, Lord, write your word on my heart. And I won't get into the semantics of the Bible, who wrote it when, but I'll say this. My experiences spiritually have always been about Abraham. and the whole story of Abraham and the sacrifice he made. My first poetry book, my first book was called Sacrificing Isaac. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And the whole story was about being able to sacrifice the things that that are most dear to us, no matter what. But having the faith to know that ram in the bush is right there, even if we can't see it.
Right.
And then for me, learning the story of King Melchizedek with the whole tithe thing, because I used to get into this thing about tithe, right? That's a sidebar conversation between you and I.
Yeah.
But him being able to give Melchizedek a tenth of his goods, which means it's not just paper bills I needed to give. I need to give tenths of stuff to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the whole faith, and it's built around the whole faith.
Yeah.
Right. And no matter what it is, because it says now to me, now, not yesterday, not the next, now, right now, not the next second, right now. Faith is, and we talk about faith being the evidence, as much as a mustard grain seed. If you looked at a mustard grain seed, you know how tiny that thing is.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So faith is the evidence of things we, hope for. Faith is the substance of things we hope for, the evidence of things we don't see.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, and I stand on it with many experiences. I don't need to see anything.
That's good.
I just trust and do. And that's where I go and I tell people, I said, I have let go of the outcome. I'm not worried about it. My mom has kidney disease, and that's the reason why I came back. But I knew I was coming back to stand in faith with her.
Right.
And she got a kidney last year. The kidney's been rejected, but still, we stand in faith.
Right.
No matter, we don't worry about the outcome.
Right.
We don't have time to worry about the outcome, because the thing that's not of God wants you to worry about the outcome.
So you won't focus on having faith.
Yeah. Exactly. Even when it comes to anything in your life, the job, the bills, you're worried about the outcome. Trust in what you can't see. Don't even worry about how you're going to get there or what's going to happen. Trust in what you can't see. In other words, dare God to be God. Dare the universe to work big in your life. Why won't they? Because maybe you're thinking somebody else deserves it. No, you're just as deserving. You're just as deserving. The blessings I receive every day is waking up. I'm grateful for that, because a lot of people don't. I've had relatives that haven't. But I'm grateful every day that I can get up and go to a job and take a car that's going to make it back and forth an hour away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. And I know being a heart full of gratitude first is a step in the right direction, but also being open and honest to the truth of where you are in your life and how you show up is also a big factor. And, talking about your Friday feels today, you talk about people being authentic.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Authenticity is really important. I know I'm learning to be more authentic with people. I am authentic, but I want to be more authentic with people who want to be authentic also with me, because when two people are engaged authentically, that's when the networking to me happens.
Oh yeah.
So
real true and honest networking.
Yeah. Yeah. But I know the scripture. What's going on? It's my favorite scripture. It's my favorite scripture. It's okay. It's real. You don't have to edit out, let everybody see it. I don't mind, right? It's for real. Because that is my favorite scripture, and I'll beat myself over, and I have it tattooed on me. I mean, it's like crazy. It's crazy. But I have another one. Huh?
Yeah. I said, yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I have another one. I have I call it Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2:2 or 2:3. Write the vision, make it plain so people can run with it. I'm a firm believer in writing down vision, using vision boards. I have 2 huge vision boards. And one of them, I don't change one of them, because I'm thinking, why do I change it each year? No, I'm going to take off and probably change some things, but I'm going to leave it just like that and let the vision happen in its moment.
Yep.
So.
That's good. And the two scriptures that you said were two scriptures that I heard a lot growing up. And I know, my grandmother, she would always say, now faith, you gotta have faith, you gotta have faith. She would pound that into us. And when I tell you, she was a woman who lived a life of faith. The
Mm,
stories I tell you about
mm,
the things that happened to her, my goodness. And then also write the vision and make it plain. She will always say, Dominique, write,
yeah,
write it down. Right. If that's what you want, write it down. And
that's
she
right.
had she had books, notepads of writings. Like, she would be up 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, just writing, just writing, you know.
Wow.
And so that, some of that, that's why the whole Mantle Motivations came, because she
Yeah,
imparted a lot of that into me. So that's why I have the gift of writing. And
good.
I hadn't been utilizing it a lot. I did my own personal stuff, but it's like now that I know and I'm aware,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, sometimes it takes us time to get there, to get to where we need to be. Now that I feel I am where I need to be, I'm taking all of that and I'm being intentional with it and utilizing it. And hey, we're gonna see what happens.
Let me
Like
ask you
you
this
said,
question because I'm always
yeah, go
curious.
ahead. Uh-huh.
You know, when you get into that flow, right?
Yeah,
That flow is a little, it's like, wow. Because that flow, I tell people, that flow right there is a flow you can't explain. It'll wear you out sometime. But when you get into that flow
yeah,
goes and it's right on point all the time.
yep, yep. And I have to say too, I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes I haven't written because of that.
Wow.
Because I know once I get into it, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it used to be, I used to be, well, this is still me ministering, so I'm not gonna say I used to be a minister, but
Mm-hmm.
I was ordained at 19, and I used to speak at church. So, when I was studying throughout the week to prepare my sermon and things like that, it felt like a burden. It felt like a burden. And then by the
Yeah.
time I got up in front of the people and let it all out,
Yeah.
so that's kind of sometimes how writing feels to me. And that's a
Yes.
reason why I haven't done it as much as I wanted to.
I can relate.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like you said, you get in that flow and you there, you gone. Because I'm the type of person, even when writing academic papers, I don't
Yeah.
need to sit down and write on paper first. I can
Yeah.
just hop on a blank sheet of paper. I mean, hop on a blank screen and just
Yeah.
start going. I'm
Yeah.
there.
Definitely.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I know exactly what you mean by the flow. That flow is something serious.
Yeah. I call it, and I'm learning to identify it as that frequency that you
Hmm.
have to be in. Some people say vortex. I mean, I know it's all God, regardless to
Yeah.
me, it's all
Yeah.
God, right? And as an educator, before AI, that's what I had. That's what I did. So now I still have that stuff from when I was in that flow. I take that and I use it with AI. That's the benefit and the advantage for me because the things I created back then are not things that can be replicated now
Right.
unless I let AI replicate it. That's the advantage. And that's why I want to tell teachers you had the stuff that you have and that you use. Now you need to put it and use it with AI. So,
Combine them.
yeah,
Combine them. Yeah.
combine
Don't
them.
be scared. Go ahead and jump into it.
Mm-hmm.
Have faith.
Yeah, and even the people who are not familiar with AI, we know they have these skills and these talents and these gifts
Hmm.
that have been passed down to them, and they've learned that now they need to take advantage of AI and they need to use it for themselves. It's like Black farmers who haven't gotten their just,
Mm.
and they've had all this land.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
come on, let's do our own food. Let's do this. It's the same thing with those skills that we know that our people have had. We need to put it into this area now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's important too, because there's a certain generation that's starting to die out. And as
yes,
they die out, that knowledge that they have, that wisdom that they have is going with them.
yes,
Some of it has been passed on, but a lot of it hasn't.
yeah,
And you know, with my grandmother raising me, I have a certain affinity for the older generation,
Yeah.
right? And I always want to reach out to them and grab as much knowledge and wisdom as I
Yes.
can, because it's so much that they have.
Yes.
And, we can do better as a people if we connect with them even more.
Right.
They have so much that they can give to us and teach us. So I feel that that's very important. Like you said, going back to our old ways of farming our land and doing what we did way back when, getting back to what we know or what we used to do,
Yeah.
being self-sufficient.
Yeah. Because
Basically,
if we
that's
don't
what it
do it,
boils down
somebody's
to.
going to steal it from us. And
Yep.
it's going to be lost for good. It's going to be messed up and it's going to be
Yep.
lost.
Yep. That's what we don't need. Um, so I want you to, I know, so do you have a couple of books that are out and can be purchased, or?
The first book can't. The second book, and I won't spend too much time on that, but the second book, When Trees Dance, is the poetry book of lesbian love, because I think we need more positive, we need to be seen in a positive light when it comes to love and romance.
Yes.
I don't know of a lot of poems that are out there. So that book is still out. The first book that I wrote, Moving Forward, Step Backward, Move Forward, that's not out, only because I'm in education right now and kids Google the heck out of everything nowadays.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's been taken off the shelf right now.
Okay.
So When Trees Dance is the only one. Again, 38 Seconds is not up because I decided to turn that into a course. But no, people just have to go to my website or just hit me up on the side and I can see what I can do. But yeah,
So
just When Trees Dance.
let them know your what are your socials, and how can they follow you, or where can they get the book from, When Trees Dance, and tell us about that.
Okay. So When Trees Dance is on Amazon. Again, it's poems for her and her, lesbian romance poems. You can follow me at goppigo.org. That's online. You can find Goppigo on Instagram. Or from my other handle for mental health, it's kicking it with K. Kicking it with K. So those are the two on Instagram. I'm not on any of the social media because I got that technology background.
Yeah.
That's where I am right now, and I'm good with it, folks. So
I heard that. I hear that a lot from people who are in technology. They be like, "Yeah, I'm only on like Instagram. That's about it." Or I'm just, they have to be on one platform, and that's pretty much it.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh, "Okay, you telling me a little something without telling me something."
yeah. And then of course there's my business email is contact@goppigo.org.
Okay, can you spell it out for them?
Yeah, CONTACT at GOPPEGODO goppigo.org.
I'll make sure I'm gonna put all of this in the bio on YouTube and Spotify when we post it. So so they can get all your information. They can get in contact with you. They can ask you some questions. Because I really do want people to get into this AI. Because when I tell you, the future is now. It's not tomorrow. The
Right.
future is literally now. So we need to get into that. Thank you so much, Kendra.
Thank you.
I really appreciate this. Is an amazing conversation. So me and you, we're gonna link up. We're gonna be linking up our camera.
Yes.
You had my wheels turning about some things.
Okay.
And I saw your wheels turning about some things.
Okay.
So we definitely gonna hook up. And well, I asked you about that later. I know you in Texas, but I get your details later.
Okay.
But yeah, so thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your knowledge and wisdom with us about AI and about education, and you being an author. I really appreciate you and giving us this moment.
Well, thanks for having me again. I can't say that more than enough. I've been more than honored to be here, and I'm grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So if you want to, you can say it with me. I'm gonna say my tagline, and then we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. You ready?
Let's hope. I'm ready.
So you remember what it is?
Keep your crown. Your crown may be tilted, although your crown may be tilted.
Yeah. But
It's
never ever
let it
let it fall. Yep.
Okay.
There you go. All right. All right.
All right.
So thank you again. We can go ahead and hit them with the tagline. You ready? 1, 2, 3. As always, your crown may be
Maybe
tilted,
tilted, but
but
never
never
ever
ever.
let it fall.
There you go. Peace and love.